and I am gonna present on my final year project, which is with the topic of riverbank protection using the revegetation technique under supervision of Dr. Said Rahani. And this presentation, it's gonna include on the objective of this project, and then how does this project is been developed or run, and then the results of this through the experiment that has been done, and then the challenges as well as the future work for this project. Okay, nowadays the rivers around IIUM Gombak campus has become endangered due to the riverbank that has not been planted. It is not all riverbank is undergo the bare soil statement, but most of it is. So the soil erosion occurred that would affect the water, and the waterways become worsened during the floods due to the increment of flow velocity and volume of water discharge. Therefore, the vegetation at the riverbank might help to strengthen the soil strength at the riverbank itself. So the objective of this project is to measure the rate of riverbank erosion at different locations with different types of vegetation. Next is to identify the type of plants that grow at the riverbank naturally, which can increase the soil strength at the riverbank. Lastly is to correlate the type of vegetation and root strength with the rate of erosion at the riverbank. For the flow chart of this project, which is it would undergo the research base, the data collection, data analysis, observe the trees that grow at the site, and then lastly with the site analysis. So firstly, the research base, which has been done on the FIP1 section, which is to determine the type of soil erosion and then the causes and effects of soil erosion. Next is on the data collection, where the erosion pin been installed, and then measure the erosion pin, and then as well as observe the riverbank activity. On the data analysis is to determine the root strength, and then to observe the types of trees that grow at the site is by determining the type of plant that naturally grow at the riverbank through the observation itself. And then site analysis is correlate the type of vegetation occur and the root strength with the rate of erosion at the riverbank. So after doing the research base, the process continue with the data collection. As for the data collection, the riverbank location around the IIM Gombak campus is been chosen. So I have choose two locations for this project, which is location A and location B. Location A is located near the rector building, and location B is located at near the awesome office at the main gate, closely at the main gate. So both location consist of two sections, which is straight section and bend section, and each section the erosion pin has been installed at both sides of the bank, which is the right side of the bank, and at right bank and then left bank. So therefore two location has been chosen, and then for the section I am measuring the length of the riverbank in order to install the 6 millimeter diameter erosion pins with the same gap, and mostly more or less approximately it will be the gap of the erosion pin. Horizontally, erosion pin would be 1 meter, and vertically it depends on the riverbank, the height of the riverbank itself. So some of it might have 20 cm gap, Some of it might have 15 cm gap. So it depends on the behavior or of the water at that section, and then how shallow of the water it is. Next, on the step 3 is after all the erosion pin has been installed, then it's time to measure the erosion pins once a week in order to get the rate of erosions for a day. And then observe as well, when measuring the erosion pins, I observe the bank activity or behavior as well in order to see how does the rate of erosion can be correlate with the activity of the bank itself. And then next is determine the types. Lastly, determine the types of vegetations occurred at the bank. Therefore, 2 natural vegetation has been determined. Okay, as for the results, here is the comparisons of some of the result obtained, which is on the report. I've been showed there is 8 graph, which is it is because we have 2 locations. Therefore, one location consists of 2 sections, and one section consists of 2 sites. So therefore, one location would have 4 graph developed as for the rate of erosion, average erosion rate. Okay, so the comparison is been compared with the location that is covered with grass, and then and the location that is covered with natural vegetation. Okay, as for the natural vegetation, there is 2 natural vegetation that has been determined at the site, which is familiar to decay and the Ludwigia alternifolia. And most of the bank is covered with the grass, or maybe just a bare soil. There's no vegetation at all at the location. So as we can see, the graph, the section that is just been covered with the grass undergo almost undergo a very high erosion rate, and almost every day, every time the bank being observed. Okay, so the bank has been observed for once a week for a month in December. So as we all know, Malaysia going through northeast monsoon season on December. Therefore, the rainfall is very frequent and almost every morning during that time. So the riverbank undergo a very high soil erosion at the place where there is no vegetation occurred. Therefore, we can see the section that is covered with grass, almost all been going through a massive soil erosion. And we can see at the section that is covered with natural vegetation, only few section we can see huge erosion rates, such as the section number 4 and section number 32, and it's on one or 2 days only, compared to the other side is almost every day. And then for the Ludwigia, only few section going through the erosion rate, or maybe that section is not covered with Ludwigia. I mean, Ludwigia is not along the bank itself. Maybe it's on the section, a certain section of the bank. The section that is covered with familiar to decay is the section at the rectory building, at the straight section on the right bank. And then the section that is covered with Ludwigia is at the near the awesome office, at the bend section at the left bank. Okay. And then the other 2 is that is covered with grass is I think the result from the rector building bend section of the left bank. And the last one is the awesome at the near the awesome office at the bend section as well, on the right bank. So this is the two natural vegetation that has been determined, which is Familia tudicae and Ludwigia alternifolia. This Familia tudicae is located at the near the rectory building site, on the straight section right side of the bank. Other than at the same site, the Familia tudicae is sharing the roots is might be from the natural vegetation, or the roots as well is a fibrous root, and it is from the planted tree around that area. So that is why the soil at that site is strong. And then for the Ludwigia alternifolia, it is located at the near the awesome office at the bend section left side of the bank. It is also a fibrous root tree. Okay, this is the some other example of the place that has been chosen. Mostly is covered with natural grass, and as we can see, the bare soil on top, on the left top, is located at the straight section of rector building, which is on the left side of the bank, where the right side consists of Familia tudicae and the left side is a bare soil. And the water flows there is a very shallow one, and it's like a soil soil deposited or soil being thrown there. It became a bank. So there is no vegetation occur. It's like that is just a natural grass on top that falls. It doesn't really grow from that soil itself. So there is so many soil deposited around that area at the riverbed. That is why the water doesn't really flow there. And the other side is just covered with a natural grass. So in conclusion, the rate of riverbank erosion at different locations with different type of vegetations occurred as the bank is successfully calculated. Therefore, the result has been shown through the graph itself. Then the type of plants that grow naturally at the riverbank were identified, which is two types. It is Familia tudicae and Ludwigia alternifolia. And then the relations between the type of vegetation, the root strength, and the rate of erosion at the riverbank were correlated. Therefore, some of the challenges that has been going through is, as we all know, Malaysia is going through the pandemic COVID-19. Therefore, there is some limitation to run this project in terms of time, as well as the location of the project itself. It is limited to around the IIUM Gombak campus only, because we cannot go out of the campus. Therefore, the time allocation is very limited, as well as we have to share with the weathering factor due to the northeast monsoon season, where every morning is a rainfall. Therefore, some of the day we cannot go out and take the sample itself. And then as for the future work, this project can be continued by comparing the strength of the soil with other revegetation technique, such as choosing other plant and planting it by ourselves, and then compare the soil strength itself. Finally, let's save our nature for a better future. Thank you.